Thank you very much. The Cabinet Secretary for East African Community, the ASALs and Regional Development, Rebecca Miano, our CS for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, the Honorable Alice Wahome, our CS for Tourism and Wildlife, Penina Malonza, the Chairman of the Steering Committee to mobilize support for the drought situation, Peter Ndegwa, the captains of industry present. On Monday, November 21st, His Excellency President William Ruto established the National Steering Committee on Drought Response, to which he appointed a team of eminent persons. We are gathered here today for the inauguration of that committee. We respect expert advice at this time. It tells us that we are looking at an unfolding humanitarian catastrophe, not just in Kenya, but also the larger Horn of Africa region, because of 4 consecutive failed rain seasons. A 5th failed season has already been set in motion by poor start of the October to December rains. We now have 14 counties in alarm drought phase, up from 11 last month. Moreover, below average rainfall is also considered likely to continue during the March to May 2023 season. I wish to thank our development partners, the private sector and other non-state actors for standing with this country for the last 2 years. You have heeded Kenya's call for help as we encountered multiple shocks, including locust invasions, COVID-19, and a persisting drought. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth estate, there is urgent need for solidarity regardless of next year's rainfall performance. Recovery from a drought of this magnitude will take years, with extremely high humanitarian needs set to persist and even increase in 2023. We have to act now to save lives, and for this, more funds are crucial. We already have several initiatives set in motion. On Monday, I joined the United Nations family in Malimin, Garissa County, for the launch of a flash appeal for $472.6 million to support 4.3 million drought-affected Kenyans in 23 ASAL counties, out of an estimated 6.4 million people projected to require humanitarian assistance across the country. This initiative will assist to bridge the government resource gap as the drought crisis worsens. To complete these ongoing efforts, the National Steering Committee on Drought Response that we are inaugurating today will, among other things, establish a private-led National Drought Mitigation Appeal Fund and mobilize resources to alleviate the impact of drought ravaging parts of this country. The President has established the Steering Committee to provide a framework for mobilization of additional resources following increased public interest in scaling up of drought response to meet the needs of fellow citizens affected by the drought. This team's effort will therefore be only as good as our willingness to lend a helping hand. Now, more than ever before, we need to rekindle our spirit of Harambee and be our brothers and sisters keepers. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the fourth estate, the prolonged drought is clear manifestation of the effects of global warming and climate change. Many people have completely lost their livelihoods and coping capacities and are relying heavily on assistance to meet basic needs. We cannot overemphasize the need for more resilience, building investments in drought-prone areas to enable communities to cope with and bounce back better from drought and other climate shocks. This requires enhanced budgetary support from both levels of government, development partners, and public-private partnerships to unlock the full potential of the ASAL region. We cannot and must not wait for additional rain seasons to fail in order to act. These distinguished men and women appointed to this committee, His Excellency the President has immense faith in your capacity and ability to spearhead resource mobilization process. Millions of Kenyans are looking up to you to deliver the promise that no life will be lost to hunger. On this note, allow me to thank the various religious groups who have been mobilizing food and other in-kind donations towards the famine crisis. But this is not enough as the situation deepens. That is why we as a government are making a special appeal to all Kenyans and various stakeholders who support us in saving the lives and livelihoods of our people. We appeal to Kenyans of goodwill to contribute a percentage of their salaries to pay to a pay bill number that will be established soon by this committee. Already, our men and women in the Kenya Defense Forces have offered to forego 1 day's salary to contribute to the response kit. The National Youth Service has followed suit. We appeal to Kenyans in food surplus counties to make their contributions through the offices of governors and respective county commissioners. The governors and county commissioners will work with the task force to be unveiled today and will coordinate the transfer of food to Kenyans suffering in deficit areas. In addition, we sent out a request to the media to make a financial or in-kind contribution in terms of airtime and newspaper space to popularize this appeal and the pay bill number. Hata kama mko na pesa watu ya media mnuachie kidogo ile mnaweza kuwa nayo cash. Ndio tupangane hapo mbele mambo ya free airtime and space. There will be no parallel pay bill and means of making contribution to this appeal other than the official channels that will be outlined by this committee by the end of the day. We warn cartels, conmen and fraudsters who want to take advantage of this initiative to con the people of Kenya money. We want to tell conmen and fraudsters and all those people who want to take advantage of this very difficult situation that they will not know peace in their lifetime. Taking advantage of this situation to con people money when people are hungry, when people are dying, is not only ungodly but unacceptable. We ask our governors in the adversely affected areas to prioritize saving lives and livelihoods through diversion and the allocation of development money to save lives. I want to conclude by thanking these good men and women who have given time and sacrifice to save lives in this country. I want to thank them for their patriotism towards their motherland, to take time for national duty, to take time and resources in support of humanity and mankind. With those very many remarks, and I want to invite Mr. Peter Ndegwa, the chairman of this steering committee, to come and make his address and set the ball rolling in appealing for funds and responding to the appeal by the President and the government of the Republic of Kenya to save lives and make sure that no Kenyan dies from hunger. We have also requested this committee in my earlier meeting with them. Other than the emergency response, we are willing to partner with them in seeking for long-term and sustainable solutions to the effects of global warming and climate change. We have asked the private sector to partner in government through public-private partnership to mobilize resources for the construction of dams and water ponds for sustainable water harvesting as we move away from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation and other modern methods of mitigating lack of rainfall. So this will be a continuous engagement with the private sector, not just for mobilizing resources for the emergency relief initiative, but also partnering with the government to look for long-term sustainable solutions and interventions to deal with the effects of global warming and climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Ndegwa.